black acts are playing the main stage at Glastonbury this year? The answer is 4.
That's right, Dizzy Rascal, Amadou and Mariam are fantastic. Tenaro and Vivi Brown are your only black acts over 3 days on the main stage. I should mention other bands like the Specials and Easy All Stars have black members, of course. You're watching The Right Stuff, the last bit of it indeed, and we're asking if Glastonbury organisers are right to take the festival back to its sort of long-haired hippie roots after last year's controversial, but I think everybody agreed, brilliant turn by Mr Jay-Z. 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts, and while you're dialing, we'll find out what Dominic, Amanda and Jim think. Bruce Springsteen, Neil Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Sir Tom Jones are all going to take to the festival's main stage this year, with Dizzy Rascal being the sole hip-hopper. Elsewhere at the festival, it has to be said, there are loads of modern bands, from the overrated Ting Tings to the awesome Prodigy, plenty of indie favourites, including our old mates Echo and the Bunnymen, and some folkies. Fairport Convention. It feels on paper, at least, very different from last year when the festival goers were split about whether blinking Jay-Z was the kind of right guy to have at a spaced-out festival which once upon a time played generous host to the Peace Convoy. That's me somewhere on the left. Organiser Michael Eavis booked Jay-Z to attract a younger crowd because he was worried the festival had become too middle-aged. Last year's Glasto didn't sell out immediately, and that was for the first time that happened in years. A sign, perhaps, that regulars weren't happy with Jay-Z? I don't know. I'm not even sure if I care. I mean, it might have something to do with ticket prices. It's £175 a ticket this year, and I'm not sure how many youths can afford that. So why not please the middle-aged folks who can afford it? Simple Minds played Glasgow at 1995. I was there. Should you be there this year? Would you want to be there this year? Have they got the mix right?
We love the festivals. I mean, I think Glastonbury does an amazing thing, and they must be loving the publicity,
of course,
each year, you know, as these sort of debates come up. I think all the factors that you mentioned there do come into play, but I also think it's just a dynamic. You don't get every year Bruce Springsteen wanting to play festivals.
I mean, fair enough. To be fair to the Glastonbury, we spoke to them earlier, and they said, you know, if you're offered Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen, you ain't going to turn them down. And they also said, and I think, just as you said, each year they look at the past year and try to do something different.
Yeah, but I can see it both ways. My own son, James, is 17, and he went to his first Glastonbury last year. And I said to him, couldn't get him on the phone for 3 days.
Obviously.
So I need to get one of those gizmos. and I said, what was it like? He said, Dad, it was amazing. I said, who was the best? And I wasn't surprised when he said Pete Doherty was just incredible. And so you can see where he's coming from. But at the same time, James likes a lot of classic acts. And I said to him, why do you like Pink Floyd? And why do you like... And he will say, well, they're authentic. They're the real deal. I like my own generation, but I've got respect. So, you know, you can see it both ways. But certainly, the great thing about Glastonbury is there's a zillion bands playing. Yeah. If one thing doesn't suit you, go to the other. And, you know, similarly, not just Glastonbury, if the festival doesn't suit, there's a zillion other festivals on this year, and some of them are great, fantastic lineups. I think Glastonbury does a fantastic job.
Have you found in Europe, it strikes me that festivals seem to be splitting even within their days, where you get sort of classic day and then contemporary day?
Yeah, I think we're too cool about that in the UK. The idea of, say, classic Glastonbury, where it would be the oldies, and cutting edge Glastonbury, which would be the newer acts. I mean, that does go on in Germany, Holland and Belgium, and no one has a problem with it. We have done both. We come up through the festivals in these sort of countries, and we've played when it was a cutting edge, and we've since played them with the Rolling Stones and etc. And, you know, people have a ball. But I think in fact, let's really get to the Glastonbury thing. People go there, ironically. The tickets, you know, usually sell out. They didn't last year, as you say, before the acts are even announced.
They did this year, sold out before they were announced.
So it's a box of chocolates.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amanda, you ever been?
No, and I really wish I'd love to go. But I think one of the beauties of festivals is that there is such a diverse musical scene. You've got Bruce Springsteen and Neil Young and the Ting Tings. I mean, it's so different.
If you look at the pop charts today, there are very few of those acts that are represented.
But funnily enough, my sister goes every year, and she went last year with a big group of friends, and there was a 13-year-old with them. And when Neil Diamond was about to come on...
What were her vital statistics? Don't tell me.
When Neil Diamond was about to come on, the 13-year-old was like, I'm not going to see him. God, he's boring. And, you know, they made him go, and sort of halfway through Sweet Caroline, he was up there with the rest of them. And I think it's really good that festivals sort of open your eyes up to things that you wouldn't normally listen to.
Dominic?
Well, I'm a massive, huge fan of clean toilets. So
they're not that bad these days.
Second album.
So for that reason,
earlier stuff. Yeah.
so for that reason, I really couldn't care. But I've only done those festivals when I've been doing the comedy tent. But no, I'm with Jim. I think it's a nostalgia thing. And if you are going to get Springsteen, you're not going to say no. Sorry, Mr. Springsteen. So.
I think it should all be about getting us spaced out at festivals. I think that's what festivals
Glowing in
are
the
about. That's
dark.
where they can. It's about in the dark.
It's about glowing in the
We've got the monkeys. Hey, with the monkeys.
And that's why, Matthew, you should not be an MP.
Yeah. No, more than likely. But it is why Hawkwind are playing the Beautiful Days, Levellers Festival this year, the Green Man in Wales. That's where I'll be. But let's find out where you're going to be. Hip-hop or hip-op? Kirsty.
We have Zoe on line 1.
Zoe, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
So, been many times before?
This is my 3rd year this year.
OK, and what do you make of the lineup this year?
I'm a bit disappointed, really. The last couple of years I found it really hard looking at the planner to know where to go first. And this year I'm having a bit of a problem, apart from maybe Blur and Dizzy Rascal.
Right.
I'm looking at one day and you have Tony Christie followed by Tom Jones followed by Madness.
Yeah.
And I think there's no kind of in-between this year.
It's Bruce Springsteen, it's the boss.
It's madness.
It just doesn't float my boat. I've never been a fan.
Can you? I mean, because it's crazy. Because you've been 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I've been going since 1984, and for all those years, it's been pretty much the same. There's some wonderful sets. The Cure that stand in mind. There's sort of the people out there, and it's never had that kind of hip-hoppy, rootsy black thing even going on, which perhaps it should have done. And it's interesting.
I don't think it needs the hip-hop thing. I think I saw Jay-Z last year and I thought he was brilliant. And like I say, I love Dizzy Rascal. But I suppose I'm more of an 80s person, and I'd love to see Simple Minds there. That would be fantastic.
There you go.
You obviously got the cheque I sent.
There's people like Will Young, who last year was in the Avalon stage, and people couldn't get to him because it was so packed. And they put him there again this year, and I think things like that sometimes are a bit of a mistake.
I hear where you're coming from. I do hear where you're coming. Thank you. Let's have one more.
Katie thinks it's a good thing.
OK,
She's on
Katie,
line
good
2.
morning.
Hello.
Hi there, Katie. Are you a youngish person or?
Yeah, I'm 20 years old.
OK, so what do you make of this lineup?
I think it's pretty good. I'm actually really excited. I've been, you know, since I was like 5 or something. My parents used to cart me along. And I think it's a really good lineup. I mean, the last 3 years have been really good.
Who are you most looking forward to then?
Bruce Springsteen, I think.
20 years old. That just goes to show, doesn't it? Anybody else?
I'd say probably. I think Block Party are playing. I think it's great that loads of young acts are playing and old acts as well because it appeals to a wider audience. And usually when I went to Glastonbury all past years, it's just young people there. And I think it's good.
Young people. Dear. Getting in the way, cluttering up the festival with their tents. Katie, thank you. That is us done for the morning. A huge thank you to Jim for giving up his time. Best of luck with the album Graffiti Soul. It's out now. Amanda and Dominic, lovely. Give it up for our fantastic panel, ladies and gentlemen. Dragon's Den star Deborah Meaden. She's joining us on the panel tomorrow. We've been after her for ages, so you don't want to miss that. And don't forget as well what else is there. Oh, that's right. The latest episode of The Mentalist goes out at 9 tonight here on 5. Thanks for watching today and every day. We know you have a choice. Thank you for making the right one. God bless you all. Bye for now.